It's one of the great things of the off season. We got no idea. I mean, some teams do. The Dodgers probably have a pretty good idea of how that team is going to be, but we don't know for sure just how good the Rangers will be. Let's talk about that next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. As I said in the headline on YouTube, it's one of those enigmas that's wrapped in a mystery, this Rangers team for this year. And part of that is some of the players that you see on the screen and some that you don't. What will they be? Can they be what we hope they'll be? Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan, Jeff Wilson. The cat isn't over there right now. She's there taking care of cameras. She's adjusting things. That's one of the many things she does. And also yell at me about pounding the table is another, Jeff. But, yeah, how are we supposed to know? But what it prompted me yesterday with so much in the chat, much very positive, much very negative. And I thought, there's a line, isn't there, between optimism and realism? And I guess pessimism would also, so there's two lines, right? And I always have tried to. I couldn't always be realistic because a lot of the time in the last maybe 15 years of my career at Fox and Valley, we were technically partners with the team, right? Yeah. So it's difficult to be completely realistic. But in my journalistic endeavors at NBC5, and since we've been here, it's a realism approach to how I believe that this team has been constructed and where it's going and, what the front office has done. So over the course of the show, we want to sort of differentiate those lines. And then let's look at like the responsibility of front office, dugout, field, which is basically, baseball ops, manager and coaches, players, right? And then we'll get to the idea of getting the farm back in shape, because I think one of the reasons that people are bleak is that the Rangers, Jeff, last year were the oldest team in baseball. Yeah. And on their major league roster, and the farm system was very low ranked, like 26th. So sure. there's reason for pessimism, and yet I would lean toward a realistic view of it that leans toward optimism. And the record says it's just flat even. You can be optimistic, pessimistic, whatever you want.
Well, I think the thing that baseball has taught me is patience. And, the best team in baseball is going to lose 70 games. Yeah,
probably
60 to 65, 70 games, right? And they're going to go home. The players will go home after a loss, and come back the next day. And so I've also learned that these off seasons have gotten incredibly long, and that the first spring workout is not the end of the off season, because players sign really late.
Boy, no kidding.
And then roster construction is a season-long process. The 26 guys who open the season will not be the 26 guys that end the season. It'll be wildly different in a lot of places, I mean, it is crazy. And so in that, with that as the background, that's why I don't get too worked up in the off season. And I didn't care for Sean Armstrong not being re-signed. I pretty vocal on that one.
Sure.
And then, I don't care for ownership cutting back, because there's no reason for them to do that. In my mind, and in the mind of anybody in a major market. You just don't cut spending. And with the intent, if your intention is to win, and that's what the stated goal of the team is. So you just kind of have to wait and see. And then another thing, you never know. You show up every day, and every baseball game is different. And you just you don't know. You don't know who went out the night before and got hung and is playing hungover. You don't on the other team,
or whose baby kept them up all night, right? Even in a more innocent sort of a way.
You just don't know these things. And so honestly, every day, and the Rangers, you go back to the game where they scored 30 runs. Ron Washington showed Rudy Jaramillo, the hitting coach then, the lineup, and Rudy said, "Wash, this is the kind of lineup that gets you fired."
Yep.
And they went out and scored 30 runs.
Yep.
So I mean, you just never know with baseball. Now, do things look great? Half yes, half no. You figure the rotation, which is the biggest part of a championship team. You got to have a great rotation. Well, the Rangers are pretty good shape there.
Yep.
Considering they haven't signed anybody. You look at the lineup, and it's like, well, in theory, you're going to have healthy guys, including one of the best guys, Corey Seager. So there's a lot of there should be optimism there. The new manager should present optimism. Not that Bruce Bochy was bad or anything, but there's a new approach offensively. They realize that 2 years of the same thing, isn't working.
Won't work. No.
And you look at the moves they have made. It's the addition by subtraction theory with Garcia, Heim, and Simeon no longer in the lineup. They were pretty dreadful the last 2 years. So, if you want to look at optimism that way, sure. Now, the bullpen is not cause for optimism.
Right.
The injury history and the need for internal improvement doesn't breed a lot of optimism. But you combine the two, and it's like, well, what else are they going to do this offseason? Which, again, could go into the very end of March, right before opening day. And then, once it gets together, how's it going to work in Skip Schumacher's, let's say, system, for a lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So, you have to wait and let it play out. So I'm neither here nor there with this team.
Yeah.
There are reasons to be here, and there are reasons to not be here.
Right.
So that's how I approach things, and it may frustrate some people that we're not ripping ownership, although we've said some pretty strong things about them.
Sure.
And ripping Chris Young, but Chris Young's hands are tied right now.
Right. And one of the things I say to people who say, you guys, you'll never rip Chris Young. Every time we rip Jock Peterson, we're ripping Chris Young. Chris Young made the decision,
right,
ultimately, to bring Jock Peterson in. And it's not Chris Young's fault that Jock Peterson so woefully underachieved, unlike he ever had in his career. I heard on the way in today, I was listening to MLB radio, and one of the, a guy just texted in from Fort Worth, Jeff in Fort Worth, actually. So I wondered if it was you, but
it was not.
You're a Mansfield guy.
That's right.
So anyway, but Jeff in Fort Worth just wondered, did the Rangers, he said, looks like the West is wide open. Do my Rangers have a chance to win? And the guys there, which was Jim Duquette and Mike Farron, and I think Jim Bowden was on there too. They all said, absolutely, it is wide open, and absolutely they have a chance to win. Farron went on to say they really need more offense. And we agree. It wouldn't hurt, but they need better offensive production and performance from all the guys that they have, too. And I still think the bigger move that's going to be made is probably still a starting pitcher.
Right.
Sorry, Rarities, who's disappointed in their ability to make any true bullpen upgrades. I mean, it'd be nice if they did, but I feel like, it was almost last year was almost like a negative in a way that the bullpen was so good, right?
Right.
It's like we threw that bullpen together. We can do it again, right?
Right.
It's human nature. And so I feel like there's a chance they're going to do that again this year and believe in it and hope for it and see what happens. And that if Chris Young is going to allocate resources that are still available, and there are some, then I think they'll be allocated more toward a starting pitcher. That'd be one. Two would be that right-handed bat, but they're not going into, the big money territory for a right-handed bat. And then the last part would be adding more to that bullpen.
Well, and you can help your bullpen by improving the rotation.
100%.
You know, having guys who can go deeper into games and give the bullpen a chance to, you know, lock things down, but over shorter stints. You know, and so that's one way to help the bullpen, and I think Chris Young believes in that. And there are guys out there. I see Cordua saying Nick Martinez, and of course there's Zach Gallen, who's probably in what's left of the upper tier now.
Yeah.
You know, there are some middle tier guys who you're like, well, you know, they're in the mid tier for a reason. You know, they have some flaws, some injury history, or maybe they're coming off a bad year. But you know, you just wait and see what it is, and be comforted by the Rangers, you know, track record of pro scouting here in the last, really, you can go back 10 years. You can go back to Mike Minor and Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson, and then, you know, Patrick Corbin. You know, that was a scouting success. They found something that
and again,
they liked the way he
in
pitched.
Late March.
Yeah. And then in the second half of his 24 season, they found something that they really liked, and they thought they could build on it. And you know what? They did. You know, for a lot of the year, Patrick Corbin was reliable, and he made every start.
Yep.
You know, and that's
huge.
That's a big
in
deal
this
too.
day and age. That is huge. Yeah. So I mean, I understand both sides, the optimism and the pessimism. You're right there on the edge because of a team that was 81 and 81 last year. So can you hope that they'll be better? Someone said too in the chat, I wish that the front office was more open, you know, and you know, communicated more. It's just not going to happen with this group, right?
Right.
It's just not. This is.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
Kieran.
we 100% wish.
I've been
that
trying.
would happen.
I've been trying for days.
Yeah, but I don't. I don't think that we're. And somebody else asked earlier if we're going to get the annual Ross Fenstermaker visit. That's something
Certainly
we
hope
got to
so.
work on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ross
we want to
and-
get
and
CY
in here.
and Ross
Yeah.
in here. They enjoyed their time here. You know, I mean, again, it's a big ask, but it's not huge. It's not ridiculous.
No,
but
it's not.
They have to come in, and you know that's the way we'd prefer it. And obviously we'd take them on the you know the Zoom thing too. But speaking of coming in, by the way, I just received confirmation during the show, Jeff, that our buddy Dave Raymond will be with us. The last text he sent me was book it. So
What day are we booking it?
Thursday. Yep.
This very Thursday?
This very Thursday.
All right.
Yeah. So there's
Well, good. I always like seeing Dave.
yeah, it's great to see Dave. We love Dave, and he's got a lot of thoughts, and he'll share most of them. But again,
I hope he brings that jam back. He owes us that jar of jam that he brought last year.
I might, yes, but I might ask him this year to bring some of this now famous sourdough bread that he's made.
my wife makes a pretty mean sourdough.
Really?
Yeah. But if you can bring the sourdough and the jam and a
I'll talk to
toaster.
him.
Yeah.
And a toaster. And a toaster.
Yeah.
So anyway, Dave Raymond will be here. That'll be fun Thursday. Make sure you mark that down on your calendar. What were the other things I saw in here? Scroll up on the chat a little bit, Kat, if you would. There was something from Cole. Cole. Yeah, Cole Payton said 79. I like that number, by the way. Cole, no better than third in the West. I think it was Fangraphs or Sports Betting USA or
Sports Betting.
Somebody, I don't know. It was somebody.
I like Fangraphs better.
Just put, I was all over Fangraphs this morning. Let me see if they put out a thing that said who's going to win the American League West. And it was 90% or 90 points for the Astros, and it was 84.5 points. No, for the Mariners, 90. 84.5 for the Astros, 83.5 for the Rangers,
All right.
and then the A's, and so you know, again, Rangers right in there, and we'll see. It's hard to predict this time of year. I can't find who the source of that was, but Nightingale retweeted it. I saw that. Anyway,
Okay.
So are they going to be a third place team? You know, I would think if they are, that's again right, kind of where they are right now. If they're a third place team, they're probably right around 500. No, it's funny. The Rangers in their 54 years here.
54.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've played 54 seasons, right? I think so. Yeah.
Right around there. Yeah.
20,
72, yeah.
23 winning seasons, Jeff. 23 out of 54. 30 losing seasons and 1 500 season.
That's it? Just last year?
This is the first time this
I'll be
team
damned.
since they moved to Texas has gone 81 and 81.
I probably should have known that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I should have too, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And in 2025, 13 teams had a worse record than the Rangers. One team had exactly the same record as the Rangers,
Oh.
the Giants.
Oh.
And 15 teams had a better record than the Rangers, which puts you where?
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle. So I don't love the middle, but I like the middle a lot better than being one of the 13 teams with the worse record than what the Rangers had. But let's assign some of the responsibility to all of those things next. Let's talk about whose responsibility it is. Is it the front office? Is it the dugout? Is it the field? We'll talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. So since I've been in college, I've been a nap guy. For decades, I was a 15-minute nap guy. I'd wake up almost for sure without an alarm, almost to the minute, 15 minutes, and feel great. Gotten older, suddenly the nap gets a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 30. Now it's 60 minutes. When I sleep for 60 minutes, I wake up and feel terrible. You know why I'm lingering in those naps now? Because my energy is low. Easy way to combat that, it's Mars Men. It's an energy boost because it's natural testosterone. We're talking about 8 natural, clinically dosed ingredients that will help you, no matter your age, feel better, feel clearer in your mind, feel more energetic. And for a limited time, our listeners get 50% off plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. It's the perfect way to kick off your new year strong. That's mengotomars.com, 50% off and 3 gifts at checkout.
And Wild Fork Foods, John, pulled off the impossible last night.
Did they?
Mrs. Wilson made spaghetti, and Molly asked, do we have any bread? And by God, we had breadsticks.
Yes.
So the breadsticks that John Radigan endorses, they were a hit. All 4 of us ate the entire breadstick, and that's pretty significant considering how picky our kids are.
No kidding.
All right, and that's just the breadsticks. It has nothing to do with the meat, which is what Wild Fork Foods specializes in. More than what, hundreds of cuts of meat, all kinds of pork, beef, chicken, turkey. They can help you on your holidays, big events, or just getting through the grind. And if you join their special club for $29 a month, you'll also get free delivery. You don't even have to go to the store. Visit wildforkfoods.com for all the information.
Yep, it's a great place to go. We encourage you to do that. We appreciate you in the chat today, already in there, prompting us and letting us know. And Kelly, man, thank you. That was projected win totals that whatever service it was put out there. 90, they said, for the Mariners, 84.5. Wonder how you get a half a win. But 84.5 for the Astros and 83.5 for the Rangers. So there you go. That's what they think. Let's see what happens on the field. Nobody was predicting the Rangers to get 90 wins in 2023.
Right.
But they did.
Right, yeah. And
is that right? Cordua said there was a 17-game losing streak in 23?
I don't think so. But
I didn't remember that either.
They lost. There was a really bad stretch.
Yeah.
So
I didn't remember it either, but I forget stuff as time goes on.
Me too.
Seasons begin to run together and so forth. All right, so whose responsibility is this? Maybe it depends upon the time of year, right?
Yeah.
And I think right now that's one of the reasons that everybody is frustrated with the front office. And it's so interesting because all you need to do is look at a very similar comp from 2025 to realize how this goes and who you're frustrated with. Last year, I don't remember this as much from the Rangers, but you know the very vocal fandom of the New York Mets was like, oh my God, this is terrible. We need to make some changes. So the Mets did, man. Their front office has made some changes. And what they were mad at Brandon Nimmo's, declining defense, right? They were mad at Jeff McNeil at second base. They were mad. I don't know if they were necessarily mad at Diaz as a closer, because it's hard to get mad at him. But they're mad. They were mad at Alonso. He's just a guy, whatever. They make all those changes. They move all those guys. And now, man, the Mets fans are up in arms. What are we doing? We got rid of everybody, right? It's like you can't win. And so, but right now, last year during the season, they were mad at the players. Right now, I think they're mad at the front office.
Yeah, the players are all on a beach somewhere,
right?
Or, part of the time they're working out now and getting toward they're completing their build up for spring training and all of that. But they've been on vacation. And, these guys have the luxury to on Thursday night say, "Hey, why don't we go to Punta Cana for the weekend? And book a flight and we'll fly out the next morning." It must be nice. But the players are out of sight, out of mind. We have phone numbers, not all of them, and you're lucky if you get a text back. And they just don't want to be bothered, and that's fine. So now who puts the team together? The front office. And the Rangers, as somebody pointed out just a moment ago, haven't had a move in 18 days for those scoring at home. But look around baseball. The market is just slow. There are a lot of big names still out there. There are a lot of guys who aren't big names who are awaiting to learn more. They're going to be in spring training, and I'd like to get that done now because just as I was planning my spring travel, those Airbnbs disappear pretty quick. And flight prices, they start going up. So anyway, it's just a pain in the butt. And but yeah, so Chris Young and Ross Fenstermaker are in the crosshairs. And as I always like to say, and I said it yesterday, and I continue to say it, they have a boss. Ray Davis. So it starts at the top with Ray Davis. He gives them the budget. And this year it was not what it has been in the past, and it's not going to be. So within those parameters, the front office is now out trying to find guys. And they always look for value. I mean, every team wants a bargain, wants to run into a cheap sign who just goes crazy. And
you mean like a Sean Armstrong? Yeah,
exactly.
Guy like that.
Yeah. So the Rangers have signed a couple, and obviously they have more work to do, but they're not the only team. It's not like the Rangers are the only team without a settled roster. All kinds of them have work yet to do, and it'll get done. More and more of it. But again, this offseason, they will work throughout spring training. I remember one of my first springs, the Rangers needed a utility infielder, and they weren't happy with who they'd brought to camp. And so scouts were out across the Cactus League looking for utility infielders. And I thought, man, that is crazy, isn't it? And it kind of was. It kind of was. But now,
not anymore.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. That, again, I mean, I think it was in 19 in Bryce Harper's year of free agency. Even he didn't sign until spring training had begun. Right. I mean, last year, Bregman didn't sign until spring training had begun. He was one of the big free agents of the offseason last year. He is again this year, obviously, because he was able to opt out. And it looks like maybe this year he's going to get his 6-year deal that he wanted. I guess the last I saw, the Red Sox are now approaching what the Tigers offered him last year. He didn't want any part of the Detroit scene. So,
well, there was the Boris 4 2 years ago.
That's right.
And they signed either late in March or even after spring training ended. I think Jordan Montgomery was after spring training ended. So, and maybe that was the agent misreading the market. But it seems like everybody's kind of in the same spot on the market right now. I don't know if they're waiting for something or what, but it looks like the Rangers probably will be in the Tyler Mahle, the Zach Eflin range, $10 million, and those guys have some, obviously we know Tyler, but some injury history there. And that might be what the Rangers are looking at, or, maybe they have kept enough powder dry to be in on Zach Gallen. I don't know about Ranger Suarez, but maybe, just maybe.
Maybe.
So, I have my doubts, and I'm sure a lot of you do too. But hopefully there's enough powder dry to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, though, to the point of front offices being so careful and, frankly, looking for that value as much as they can. The only elite level that was available, or the only high-level pitcher who signed is Dylan Cease.
Yeah.
Right? Framber hasn't signed.
No.
Ranger hasn't signed. Zach Gallen hasn't signed.
Right.
None of the guys who were considered upper echelon type pitchers have signed yet. Now, you did have a couple of the free agent hitters go off the market, but not the biggest expectation guys. Tucker's still out there. Bo Bichette's still out there, right? I mean, I know that Alonso, obviously.
Bellinger's still out there.
Bellinger's still out there. Alonso's obviously gone, and what was the other one that was somebody else big signed? But yeah, that's it.
Schwarber signed.
Schwarber, that's right. He stayed home. In fact, you're seeing reports today the Reds actually offered more money. He didn't want any part of that Cincinnati scene either. A little bit like O'Bregman last year. So anyway, so that's what the front office does. The dugout is huge, and it manifested itself in a huge way for the Rangers in 2023. It was an unbelievable breath of fresh, old air, right? It was going back in time and seeing if that manager and a group of coaches, a big group of coaches, could put this thing together. And the two most significant, players among that coaching staff were both north of 60, and one of them, was he north of 70 yet? No, I think he was.
He was 68.
68. Okay, so you had two guys in their 60s, Mike Maddox and obviously Bruce Bochy, who were so instrumental in putting that thing together, right?
Yeah.
Now they've gone the opposite way, as the game has also done, right?
Well, I think that what made them so refreshing was the credibility that they brought.
Sure.
A team that had been kind of floundering around, and no offense to Chris Woodward, who had never been a manager before, Doug Mathis, who had never been a big league pitching coach, but it was hard to, I think, for some players to put a lot of stock into what they were selling. Yep. And I think that Chris Woodward might have been a little bit too raw, not like a Jeff Bannister, but a little, it kind of wore on guys eventually, I think. But while he was tasked with developing guys in the majors. So, the defense suffered and things like that. Well, Bruce Bochy comes in and says, this is how we're going to play. We're going to get our outs. Mike Maddox comes in and says, we're going to throw strikes. We're going to walk guys. We're going to believe in every pitch we throw. And it worked. Yeah. It kind of worked like a charm.
Yep.
And it worked at the right time in October when they got hot and went 13-4 and won the World Series. So now I don't want to say that messaging was lost, because the Rangers were the best defensive team in baseball last year. Has set the all-time record for fielding percentage. Yep. And then here you have the pitching staff, which for the first time in baseball in their history led the majors in ERA. So, you're losing a lot there, right? But winning baseball is winning baseball. And Skip Schumacher, who came from he was coached for many, many years by Tony La Russa. He has his ideas of how to improve the offense, which apparently involves some small ball. You have Jordan Teagues as pitching coach instead of Mike Maddox. Jordan is grateful for the year he had with Mike. He thought their thoughts aligned a lot of times. He was wondering how Mike would approach the day after a loss or something like that. And at a certain point, things started to align. So Jordan feels good about that. He also knows all these young pitchers and has known them for years because he was the minor league pitching coordinator. So there's a lot of there's some reason to think that the Rangers won't drop off pitching and defensively. It's the offense, and so here's Justin Veely, the new hitting coach. Although he was around last year, he was Donnie Ecker's pal and handpicked assistant, and probably kept his mouth shut there for a while because Donnie's kind of a big personality, and It didn't work out for Donnie, and then who do they bring in? A bigger personality,
Yeah.
Brett Boone, who wanted to go old school and kind of teach the guys situational hitting and would get frustrated when it wasn't happening. But anyway, so now Justin gets to spread his wings and bring in, Alex Cintron from the Astros, who knows the division and has had success with some really good Astros players. So, there are some guys who you like to think they've done it and can help move it forward. So, but of course you have to wait and see, and it all comes down to the players,
right? And that's where it is. It's the field, and really, any coach at any level will always tell you, I'm a much better coach when I have good players.
Yes, 100%.
Right? And that's all that's all that any team needs. And in this case, that's all that the Rangers need, is for these good players, many of them already established. Corey Seager's established as a great player. So is Jacob deGrom. So is Nathan Eovaldi, right? There are a lot of guys who are established as great players, and then other guys who have proven that they can be good players. Those guys have to be good players, or better than good players. And if they are, then we're back to the optimism versus realism versus pessimism. And if they are, I'll be really optimistic. So anyway, in the meantime, we talked at the beginning about the farm system and how it had been depleted. And somebody was in the chat saying, Bruce Bochy may have gotten what he wanted. It was Kelly, man, got what he wanted at the expense of the farm. Not sure that's necessarily true, but the farm has been depleted. So let's restock it next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's time to talk about the Supporters Club. Oh, my goodness. We are big fans, and we are charged this week with coming up with some sicko-level stuff.
Oh, man, I'm tapped out. I need this coffee to kick in.
Yeah, we need something to go. We're gonna something will spark, something will inspire us, and we will deliver some sicko level stuff for you guys who are Supporters Club members. If you're not, we'd encourage you to join the Supporters Club to see what we come up with, but also to see what each and every one of our crews comes up with once per week. We each do one of these per month. We have the 4 crews: Stars and Mavs and Rangers, and of course Cowboys. And I'm going to guess the next time they're on there, they'll be talking about the defensive coordinator. One just got fired. You knew that, right? And the other, whoever that might be, may be a source of the topic there. But anyway, we're not sure what we'll do, but we'll do one, and it'll be fun. It'll be good, and it'll be available for you if you just join the Supporters Club. $15 or $5 and become a supporter, a bigger supporter of DLLS today.
Yeah, and Ali's got some fresh fodder for that newsletter that he puts out all the time, and you can become a recipient of our newsletter just by going to alldls.com, scrolling to the bottom of our homepage, and put in your email address, and that's all we want. We don't want to, we don't want to know anything else. We don't need credit card numbers or social security numbers or wedding licenses or birth certificates or anything like that. And what you get in your inbox is a recap. Thumbnails, however you want to say it, of what's happening with our 4 sports teams. The Cowboys, of course, are always big in the news, but we're mid-season with the Stars and the Mavericks, the basketball team, and then there's the old Rangers who, we've been talking about them for a while, kind of dormant, but expect that to change. And when they do, we'll all write about it, and Ali will put it in our newsletter.
Yep. Please join it. And any idea where FanFest details are, I'm pretty sure they're on the website because I looked it up myself recently, but it's January 24th is the date. And I think some of the details are there. Give it a look-see. If not, it'll be there soon. Winter Caravan is changing this year.
Correct.
Remember when Richie told us that?
Yeah.
They even have a different name for it. Do you remember what he said?
I don't remember what he said.
Winter,
but it's not going to be as prolific. Like, for instance, the Frisco one that's always on the Saturday at Riders Field is going to be in the Embassy Suites beyond center field on a weeknight this year. So it's getting a little facelift. They're going to go to Austin around Rock and check do what they usually do with the Express. So we we don't have a lot of details. Hopefully those come out soon. Yesterday was everybody's first day back in the office, so give them a little grace this week.
I got the feeling from what Rich told us the day that we had a chance to chat with all the new coaches was there might not be quite as many visits to the academies and the Krogers of the world.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
In regard to the winter caravan or whatever the new name of it is. So stand by and stay tuned for that. But there will be something. I just don't think it's going to be as widespread and have the breadth that the winter caravan has had in the past. And in part, that's because it's easier to get news about your team today than it was then, right? I mean, because again, all you have to do is follow these players. I saw on social media, you were talking about guys going to, Cancun or whatever they want to do. If they want to, fly down and have a nice, vacation in the Dominican. I don't know where Bo Bichette's wedding was, but there was a group of last year, 2025 Toronto Blue Jays that included Ernie Clement and Shane Bieber and Max Scherzer for sure, and a couple. I think there were 5 guys and their wives. And they all flew to the wedding together, Jeff.
Oh, I'm sure they chartered a little plane.
Yeah, private plane. This was not booking first class. This was not booking a flight. This was taking a plane.
There's no other way. That's the best way to travel.
Oh, my God. It's unbelievable.
It's great.
It's unbelievable. If you've never had a chance to do it, I encourage you to do it. I know.
Well, if somebody else paying for it.
Right. Yeah. I just want somebody else to always pay, and I've had the opportunity to do it a few times. It's unbelievable. Flew on a plane, Jeff, from here to New York one time with the owner of the Mavericks, Don Carter, then the original owner of the Mavericks, who flew the plane.
Oh, Jesus.
He flew the plane.
I'm not doing that.
And then on the way back, we went up for the NBA draft lottery. And it was me and Linda Carter, lovely Linda Carter, and Don, and my cameraman, Kerry Smith. And on the way back, the heat went out in the plane.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you know how cold it is at 30,000 feet or wherever the heck we were flying? Oh, I got the worst cold of my life flying back with Don and Linda Carter while he flew the plane. And that's when Linda said, she had the famous line. She said, it took Donnie and I a while to make our first $1 million. Now we sometimes make $1 million a day. I'm like, well, who doesn't? Who doesn't? And that's probably small change now to some of these people, but that got our attention then.
I would have said, well, fix the damn heat, Linda.
Right?
For your $1 million
Wait, can we
day.
Can we get a mobile repairman up here to fix the heat? Replenishing the farm system. I don't believe there's anybody on the farm, Jeff, making $1 million a day. Now, we did hear or saw the note that Anthony Rendon made about $953,000 or almost $1 million a game.
What a deal.
During his career with his time, I should say, with the Angels. But not many people at the minor league level making $1 million period. Some do though now as they climb their way up these high draft picks and so forth. But to replenish the farm system, obviously there's 3 ways to do it. One is through the draft.
Yeah.
The other is through the international draft, which is coming up.
Signing period, not a draft
signing
yet.
period, which is coming up next Thursday, the 15th.
That's correct.
And the other one, of course, is to do it through trades.
Yeah.
And we were thinking that some of the, big contract guys like Marcus Semien may be traded out for prospects. Now, as it turned out, that was a 1-for-1 trade. And I don't know that there is a possibility at this point, Jeff, and tell me if you think I'm wrong on this. I don't think there's a possibility of a trade now that helps replenish the farm system, at least not by any significant amount.
At this rate, I wouldn't think so. You kind of look at the players who would be available for that. Corey Seager, who cornerstone player, and as Chris Young said, you got to have great players to be great. And you could say, oh well, what about old DeGrom or Eovaldi? Well, yeah, probably. So then it's like, okay, Could you get a lot of prospects for Josh Young? Yeah, but then it's probably a little late in the game to get a third baseman, and you're kind of in a pinch. So I think that right now, yeah, the two biggest opportunities to acquire amateur talent and minor league prospects is Thursday next with the international signing period, and then the draft, which is always in July, right around the old the All-Star game, which is a disaster. But anyway, next week's a big day.
It is, and we know. I mean, we know the Rangers have done tons of work in Asia too. And I in fact, I saw what's it? Not Drayton McLean, but the new owner, Jim Crane. Jim Crane of the Astros in their introduction of MI. He was saying like, "Wow, we've just decided to get some scouts over there in Asia and stuff." It's like, oh, good thinking, Jim. It worked out. I mean, they got their guy, but
about 20 years behind, pal.
Yeah, that's been happening for a lot of other teams for an awfully long time. But the Rangers have done a great job over there, of course.
Yeah.
But they're really good and always have been pioneered, really, the idea of signing Latin American players with Sandy Johnson.
Yeah, and really we didn't ask. That was one thing we never really got into with Tom.
I wanted to, too, because his stories about Sandy are great.
But before Puerto Rico was swallowed up by the MLB draft, I mean, the Rangers were killing it there. I mean, look at the players they got from Puerto Rico. One's in the Hall of Fame. One won a couple MVPs.
Yeah, and then Ruben Sierra.
Right.
No slouch.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's crazy. And internationally, and then there for a while in the early 2010s, the Rangers were under AJ Preller, who, got suspended for some of the things he did down there. They gave Nomar Mazar the largest bonus ever.
Yeah.
To a international player, and in the same year, same class, that was about $5 million, $4.95 million. The same class, they signed Ronald Guzman for $3.35, I think it was.
Right.
So I mean, that's more than $8 million on two players. The Jairo Barris thing a few years later, which caused a lot of angst with the secondary birth certificate and all these things, but they're still down there going away. Of course, I think there's a little bit of a cap now, so there's no wild west like it once was. I think it's still pretty wild down there, though. But the Rangers are in pretty good shape, I think, for this upcoming class. They have the number 9 prospect, according to Baseball America, Elian Rosario, an outfielder from the Dominican.
Okay. How old's Elian? Does it say
Well,
there?
he'll be 16.
Okay.
Wait. He's 17.
Okay.
And so they, and their top prospect, Sebastian Walcott, was just a few years ago, got a $3 million bonus, and that's seems to be working out pretty nicely. But it's crazy, you don't hear a lot of this, but they scout 12-year-olds. They're down there before these kids go through puberty, watching them work out and trying to reach agreements. And, they're not just working on the class of 2026, they're working on 2030. And I'm like, damn, my son's going to graduate high school in 2031.
Right. Yeah.
Send Henry down there. I wouldn't do that. But anyway, the point is, the Rangers will sign a bunch of guys. They'll have a big signee, it looks like it's going to be this Rosario cat. And maybe a couple others, maybe 5 others that are 6 or 7 figures, and then they make a killing with these $10,000 signees.
Right.
Look at their 40-man roster right now, and their prospect list: Teodo, Corniel, Santos, all very Corniel was acquired in a trade, so take him out. But Santos and Teodo were $10,000 signees.
Were they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And while the Rangers didn't sign Ezekiel Duran, he was a $10,000 signee who then they traded for with the Yankees. So it's not always the high-priced guy, because there are a lot of Jairo Barrises in the world.
Sure.
Who, what was that big guy? I can't think of his name. Or, God dang it. Anyway, he got suspended, and it was a disaster. And so you
can't predict
he's
some
out.
of these
You can't
things.
predict it.
No.
That's why they try to understand the family and all of that stuff. And so you feel good about, and we know the guys who are down there and working it. They're good men. They work hard, and it's kind of dirty work down there, right? But they get the job done.
Yeah. Mason saying Frandel Pineda is also favored to sign with Texas. And, that's a good one. That's a really good one. So they're working it. We'll have all that information, all those details next Thursday. And on Friday of next week, we're planning on having another special guest who might have a lot to say about that. So anyway, this Thursday, don't forget, we got Dave Raymond coming up. So that's coming. Next on this show, though, is our cleanup segment. And there's lots to talk about. We'll have some fun next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And we want you to be a diehard. We want you to be one in the worst way. Because, like right now, there's just so much. After their Cowboys show today, who was upstairs working hard? But two of the four, I guess, on the Cowboys show, the writers, Ali and Clarence, right? There's just more to say, more to write. An hour's not enough time to get all the things out that you want to say and that you want to write. And they're, probably headed to the Star by now to start doing their due diligence to see, what's going to be next for this group as they try to replace now Matt Eberflus, who was let go today. I was appreciative of the fact that, right after the game, I think Shoddy said it was going to be 10 to 12 days before they decided, stop it. You got to make this move, rip off the Band-Aid. They did it. It's written about behind the paywall, and so is all the stuff that Jeff does and all the stuff they do for the Stars and Mavs. So become a diehard today.
Yeah, and I think part of the All-City Network, that's all of our places, we're I think a New Year's resolution to make our diehard experience even better for you guys, and you may learn more about that as soon as tomorrow. In the meantime, when you become a diehard, you get a free T-shirt. You can go to store.allcitynetwork.com. We have hats, which I'm wearing. This is the Mavs hat that just came out.
Good looking.
Shirt. This is the Mavs flag shirt. I'm not a Mavs fan. I just like the colors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate the Mavs, mind you, but I'm not a Mavs fan.
Are you a Nuggets fan?
I am a Nuggets fan.
Yeah, I won't blame you.
Sure.
I mean,
always,
from Denver.
Yeah, always been a Nuggets fan.
Yeah,
absolutely. So anyway, shirts. Cat's wearing the Nolan Ryan Ventura shirt today. I know a lot of you guys have them, and you need more, honestly. So go to store.allcitynetwork.com. Check out our stuff, and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, Gallagher Champ with a funny little thing, Cowboys coaching purge, like the falling of leaves in November. I saw one yesterday. Remember, folks, every time the Raiders or the Browns fire their coach, you need to change the batteries in your smoke detector, right? So I like that one. So do it about once a year. Gosh, the Raiders, I think the Raiders are paying $50 million to fired coaches. They're still paying $10 million to John Gruden. And
what?
I thought he got fired for cause, right?
But by the Redskins, right? He was Washington's coach when all that went down, I thought.
But wasn't he working for the Raiders at the time?
Know.
I don't remember. But anyway, they're still paying him. So there you go. Here you go with the cleanup segment. Speaking, we mentioned
I think you're right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we mentioned Bo Bichette's wedding. The Blue Jays, would love to bring him back. And this reminds me a little bit of the Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah.
Jordan was offered free Hurtado barbecue. We love Hurtado barbecue. And he was offered free Hurtado barbecue for life. Now, Bo has been offered steak from Animal. Not Animal. There's no way. But it's a hell of a steakhouse. I've been there one time in Toronto, John.
Oh, man.
It's phenomenal.
John, living it up.
Yeah, I was on expense account. All
right.
Free steak for life, and it's a really good steakhouse. And I don't blame these locals. I really appreciated what the Hurtado guys did for trying to get Jordan Montgomery here. Again, I think in that case, it was one of those situations. Jordan Montgomery would have loved to have been here.
Oh, yeah. No question about it.
But it didn't work out. And that's but you know what? It's too bad. And yet, I don't know. It's so hard to predict if he would have been what he had been. He certainly wasn't that in Arizona, and then he blew out his elbow.
Yeah.
So-
Hey, maybe the Rangers say, hey, Jordan, we'll give you a couple million. Come be our fifth starter when you're ready.
Yeah,
Maybe. Who
Maybe.
knows? Yeah.
that wouldn't be shocked. Is he free now?
He's free now.
Oh, he is free.
He is free. Yeah.
Okay,
And a lot richer.
Yeah. So Marcus Stroman doesn't have to fly to the Dominican, although I really don't know where this is. It kind of looks that way, but this could be Florida too. Marcus Stroman doesn't have to fly anywhere warm during the offseason because he lives there. Now, how many humble brags do you see here? Marcus wanted us to see his bullpen, his offseason bullpen, and his house. There's a humble brag. The 2 boat slips, that's a humble brag. And now, pitching with no shirt on with a frickin' 6-pack, another humble brag. Look at him, bragging all over the place. But, man, that's pretty sweet. Now, errant pitch, Jeff, it's going to Puerto Rico, baby. I don't know where he is. It's going to some other island nation. But there's Marcus Stroman's.
It sure looks Florida-y.
Yeah, it kind of does
Florida-y.
look Florida-ish, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That house does. So, yeah, it would be. It'd be going to Cuba. Heading straight out to Cuba if he overthrows his catcher. I'd like to see who the catcher was back there.
Probably just some guy.
A lot of pressure on that catcher. Balls ain't cheap.
Well,
You don't wanna
if you have a
drop 'em in the
if you
water.
have a bullpen like that, I think you got to kind of build it
Probably
into
probably
your expenses.
need to worry about the expense of the baseballs. So that's interesting. And look, if you don't like working out, that kind of situation could make you feel a little bit better about working out.
Yeah.
And 60 feet looks long, looks really far on a deck, doesn't it?
It sure
I mean,
does.
on a dock.
Yeah.
I guess that's a dock, not a deck. But it looks like a long way, but I think that's probably just, they probably measured that out, Jeff.
Yeah.
60 feet, 6 inches.
Yeah, and Marcus hasn't had a good couple of years.
No, he has not.
And they've been a little tumultuous there at the Yankees, and now he's a free agent, and he's lost a lot of velocity. And, of course, he was very vocal when he was with the Blue Jays and the whole Rangers thing. And it was, I don't know that he'd be welcomed here.
No. I don't think he would be. And not just vocal, right? Did he not get involved? I mean, obviously everybody did in some way, but
He might have.
I feel like he may have had a role that was unpleasant in the whole Rugi fight.
Could have been.
Yeah.
I don't recall.
I can't recall. I mean, there was a lot going on. And I agree with you, Gallagher champ. The poor guy couldn't even afford a backstop for his doc. But, maybe next year. Maybe if he gets that big contract. The Topps 75th anniversary edition of baseball cards is out. And look at what you see there. It's a combination for the 75th year, Jeff, of old-time players. You might recognize the guy in the upper left there is Henry Aaron,
Yeah.
Hammer and Hank of the Braves.
Well, guy on the right's not very young anymore.
No, he's really not.
Yeah.
I just saw a video of him taking pictures at a golf tournament. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That Junior does that.
Right.
And then you got a couple of guys who are pretty good. And by the way, that guy on the lower left is number 17 in your program, number 1 in your heart if you're a fan of in Japan of baseball, or if you're a fan of the Dodgers. But 17 significant in that the numbers 1-7. Tomorrow on the calendar is 1-7.
Yeah.
MLB Network TV is doing an entire day devoted to number 17, 1-7 on 1-7.
All right.
The whole day.
I don't know that I'll be watching.
I don't usually watch it. I've only seen it talked about I watch it in the season.
Yeah.
I don't watch it that much in the off season. I do listen to MLB radio though. So there you go. There's the you're a much bigger collector than me, but it feels like this is a big day, a big
Yeah, but
deal.
like the Topps set isn't it's one of the more affordable ones. I think that they gear toward collectors. It's like the Bowman sets, and then Topps Chrome, and there are just a variety of cards out there that get more and more expensive. And you can't just go pick up a wax box anymore for $25. They're pretty dang expensive. We looked at Christmas for Henry, and it's like, well, I love you, Henry, but I'm not going to spend $500 on this,
vintage
box of basketball cards.
Yeah,
not even vintage.
Not even
the
vintage,
current series. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it does. I think that top set guarantees that in every pack you're going to have a current and a classic player in there. And who knows?
All right.
I don't imagine all of them will be on the level, the classics, on the level of Junior and Hank. But, there's going to be some cool cards to be had. Who was I talking to? I think I had a chance to see Mark McLemore this weekend. I think it was him saying the young players today, it's so amazing how few of them know some of the greatest baseball players who ever played.
Oh, really?
Compared to his generation. He goes, we didn't have social media, but we all knew who the guys who came before us, even a generation or two before us, were. And he's disappointed that the young guys, that a lot of men, and I'm always surprised when I encounter guys who are like, I don't really watch baseball. I don't really care about baseball. They're just good at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But one of the reasons, too, that they don't watch it, Jeff, is that they play it all the time. So if you're playing, like, I know Henry watches, but if you're playing every weekend, and, you don't really have a chance to watch that much baseball. So how about this? The A's, formerly of Oakland, currently of West Sacramento, future of Las Vegas, have been denied trademark for the Las Vegas Athletics and the Vegas Athletics. Like, did you not think of this when you were thinking about moving to Las Vegas? And you know what some smart guy did? Some smart guy ran in there and just bought those two names up. So they'll get paid whenever Las Vegas Athletics or Vegas Athletics is used.
Yeah, good for the guy.
Good on him.
Yeah. Try to sell that and make some money.
Kind of like when Michael Jackson bought all the Beatles songs. Snuck right in there and bought them out from under Paul McCartney and everybody. So, so this guy, he bought, I don't know if that's really what happened, but somebody, they don't have that trademark available for the Las Vegas Athletics. I mean, so maybe they just go with the A's, but that's not the
stupid.
tradition. No, the tradition, going all the way back to the Philadelphia Athletics with the elephant, goes back all the way back to Philadelphia. I can't remember the story about the elephant.
How about the Las Vegas Athletics of Nevada?
Probably
like the Anaheim Angels, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Yeah, you could probably
the Clark County A's.
Is that what it is? Clark County.
Clark County. Yeah.
The Nevada Athletics. Not a bad idea, actually, Kirdua, because then you bring in the whole state.
Yeah, there's not really much in Nevada outside of Las Vegas.
Yeah, good point. Is there? Reno?
No offense to Reno and Carson City.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Reno's...
Carson City? Is that the name of the capital?
What would Reno, would Reno align more with like San Francisco and stuff? Yeah, they probably would. I would assume so. So anyway, that's an interesting thing, though. And then we told you yesterday about Julio Rodriguez, the field that he built, and it was just him sitting there in the shot yesterday. It's a $25 million field. One factual error. We'll check ourselves on the facts. Julio only donated $1.3 million of his own money, but he helped raise the $25 million that was needed to build the field that was beautiful and expansive and looks very different when it's full. And I mean, yesterday it was full of some pretty big name baseball players.
Yes,
Jeff.
Yes, it was.
Let's take a look at that. Oh, there's Nelly, front and center in two pictures. You might recognize Juan Soto there, too.
I did recognize Juan.
Yeah.
Yes.
So pretty cool. It was, like I say, funded by his No Limits Foundation, and he did donate over $1 million. I mean, that's pretty significant. And those guys, I saw some video of Soto, taking some swings and knocking a few balls out of there. Pretty fun.
Yeah,
that's a pretty emotional day, I think, for really for all those guys.
Yeah, and there's land out there, and it's hard to purchase a large plot because so many people own it and stake a claim to it. And then the labor can be hit and miss. I know the Rangers encountered some of that when they were building their new facility, which they did for like $10 million. It's very cheap. So I'm interested in this $25 million field, and maybe it's more in a city than where the Rangers have their facility.
It's kind of out
Boca
there
Chica.
Out there in the boondocks a little bit. So anyway, that's going to do it for us for today. We've got 3 more shows this week, though, all at 1:00. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us each and every day. Spend tomorrow with us, and then Thursday you'll be spending it with the two of us and Dave Raymond. So, and Friday will be full of fun as well. So, in fact, Friday I'm sure we'll be talking about what happened in the whole arbitration process. So,
oh man, good times.
That'll be big. We'll see you then. We'll see you Wednesday, tomorrow, 1:00. Another edition DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.